Welcome to the Leadership Transition course, and in this module we will continue to look at another topic called behavior model and modification. So what does this tell us? So we want to look at, what does behavior modeling help us to do? What is it actually? And where in a situation you need to change the behavior of both yourself as a leader as well as help others change their behavior. You need to know what you need to follow, steps and ways to help in behavior modification, because that can be one thing that is difficult to do, especially if you're dealing with people of different personalities. So, but first, as a leader, what does behavior modeling mean to you? Basically, if you talk about modeling something, modeling simply means trying to predict what or why things happen the way they happen. And in this case, you want to know why an individual makes a decision the way they make it, and then to see if there are things you can improve in that sense. And that's why we have behavior modeling. Now, but as a leader, you would expect that people, as a leader, you expect that your people do um, uh, things in a way that shows respect for you. But then in the leadership behavior modeling, in this case, it is you, the leader, doing what your people expects you to do. So the leader doing what he or she expects the follower to do. But then you should be aware that this is a two-way street. Now, if you expect people to speak respectfully to you, then you should be able to do that to them. So of course you can expect people to behave in the way, or your follower to expect to do things in the way you expect them to do it. But for them to follow and really follow you as a leader, they also look to you in your behavior. So if they would want to model someone they don't respect, that would be difficult. So when you look at behavior, there are other things attached to it. It's connected to your thoughts and your feelings. But then at the center of that, it's the core belief as a person. So as a leader, what do you believe about yourself? Which can also be what you know about yourself. What kind of belief do you have towards others, and also the belief towards the future? Now all this interact in a way to, you know, impact eventually how your behavior shows up, which is the visible part of the iceberg model as we've seen. But again, the core beliefs or values can influence that, which is also something we've seen in the iceberg model. But then as also a leader, you can look at things from both a motivational point of view and ability to do things. So if you want to influence people, and remember that before you do this with others, you also have to be sure about it yourself. For example, when engaging in behavior for yourself, structurally, you act in a way that makes things easy, such that you have the ability to do that. And even on a personal note, um, you equip yourself, to be able to do things the way you want to do it. And then socially, you should be able to create a norm and help yourself to do that as well. Then if you apply that to others, to motivate them, then and to engage them in a behavioral way that is positive, then you have to make that approach, a good behavior something that is the default, and make it easy for them to understand so that they know that this is the way it works. Come with a structure, a way that you guys deal with things. And also on a personal level, make that what you want them to do, which simply means to enable them, you have to equip them with the ability to do that, which means you have to be able to interact with your members in a way that they also have the ability to interact with you out of respect, depending on what kind of structure or things you've put in place. In that way, you are able to socialize with them, make those social aspects. It could be going out, it could be putting certain agreements in place that people can say, we agree that we can treat each other this way, and also show it by helping them to do it so that they can also form that ability. So let your people model your own behavior by you first modeling that on different levels and engaging your team members. But first, you have to be able to engage yourself as a person, as a leader, before you can do that with others. So having said that, what if in the case of Sarah, who needs to find ways to, help ensure that certain behaviors in her team where she's struggling with are modified? So you have to think about maybe behavior, or the organization or the system you are as a way of things that can help you. But also think of behavior change as a kind of system where, you see that behavior is a function of consequences. So if good behavior are rewarded and encouraged in order to reinforce that, and that's what we mean in the previous slide. And good behavior you can consistently promote, but then you need to also balance it with the fact that when you get bad behavior, you need to ensure that somehow there's some form of punishment and discourage. You need to discourage it, and also you don't allow it to reoccur. But don't overdo them both. Do it in such a way that you gain the best of both worlds. And that's why managing people can sometimes be managing the balance of consequences and um, your own behavior or people's behavior. And if you look at the stages of behavior change, it can go all the way from what we call pre-contemplation, where you are unaware of the problem, to contemplation, where you start becoming aware of the problem, of what changes need to happen. And then you can go to the next level or step where you prepare and intend to take action to make the change in behavior. And then you actually take the action, which simply means practicing what new behavior you want to have, and then putting up a system or way to maintain it such that you can consistently do that. And these are the stages you can also check yourself as a leader in certain situation that you're able to do before you can also use it with your team members or followers or people. And there are some techniques also, advice that you can use, which in some cases can be categorized into 5. So first, you develop a new behavior, you strengthen that behavior, you maintain that behavior, and you reduce inappropriate behavior that there or wants to come in, and then you can modify your emotional behavior. And you can do all that following the stages we talked about by asking yourself, how aware are you about it? And then become aware, and then prepare to take action, and then actually take the action to modify it and practice, and then maintain it. In that way, you can combine all this together and you can achieve something great, not just for yourself, but also how you relate and deal with other people and your team. So in this topic or model, we have been able to touch about behavior and behavior model, and what are the stages and also some few techniques. Thank you for listening.